Hey, Bridging the Gap.
What's going on, fam?
It's Cheryl.
And Roger.
Live again.
We're getting good at this live thing. Now we just want to give you guys some updates real quick. It's been a little bit of a pause. It's been almost 2 weeks since we did our last video.
Yeah.
So we want to talk about a couple of things. Give you a little itinerary. We want to talk about the class because we did get some responses on that. We want to talk about Cornelius and his youth program, the one we attended last year that we shared all the videos from. And then we want to take some time to talk about this latest shooting in Columbus, I believe it was. Haven't really addressed any of those in real time this whole year, so we're going to address this one. The last topic I'm going to save as a surprise for you. So, the class, I think we've got about 10 or 12 people that sounded like you were interested in the class. Those of you who went to the website and sent us an email, we have your email address. I have a couple on Facebook that we've connected with who I've got their email address. Anybody else who is interested in having these discussions around who we are and learning and growing in that area, go to the website. Website, baby. So,
BridgingTheGap400.com.
400.com. And how do they get in touch with us?
There's a contact on the contact page. You can send us an email. Why are you laughing?
You talking to me? You talking to him?
Because I'm talking to all y'all.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, you can go to the website. Most people know how to go and find a contact, so that's why. You know,
I'm assuming most people are like me, right? I don't do technology, so I don't even try to explain the technology. That's what you're here for. So,
okay.
Anyway, if you want to join the class, what we're thinking is maybe twice a month.
Mm-hmm.
Twice a month, every other week.
It'll be on Zoom.
It'll be on, right?
It'll be live. And so we can have discussions and feedback and question and answer and all that good stuff.
And Bible's handy, and let's dive into His Word and what's played out and examine it thoroughly so that we can all stand in the truth. I'm looking forward to that. We're going to get it started
early next year. Yeah,
we're going to get it started now, early next year. We were thinking about doing it on the 20th, but your boy had some challenges this week. Wasn't feeling so good, so didn't realize that the 20th is a week from today. We ain't ready. so we are going to.
Yeah, we plan on doing the class. Not just getting on and talking, where you're going to have a syllabus. It's going to be organized and things like that. So we want to make sure that we do it right and not just throw something together.
Yes.
Because we could do that on YouTube.
Yes. That's true.
We could do that here. We want to have it, very orderly and organized.
So Cheryl is going to put together a nice little syllabus because Roger's not doing that. So... and then we'll have some stuff to talk about. So, I think that's about it for the class. I'm kind of looking forward to it. Not sure really where it's going to go, but I'm sure there's going to be some enlightening moments for us and hopefully for some of you. And, just as long as we've been doing this for the last 3.5 years, it's been light bulb moment after light bulb moment. And it just keeps coming. So I'm looking forward to sharing some of that with you guys and see if you have some of those same light bulb moment experiences, because it's waking up to all of this stuff that we've been told is not true is changing.
Yeah.
Will change you.
Yeah. And I believe this is just the beginning. There's so much more that we haven't dove into yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's too much information. So anyway, that's the class. Moving on to Cornelius. Last year we were there at this time and we were the keynote speakers. We saw the room full of the young folks who were interested in ideas and wanting to do something productive. And so what we came up with, kind of spur of the moment, was, I think you came up with that, didn't you? To have them all put together stuff.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell what we came up with last year?
You want me to remember a year ago? Okay. Well, it was based on the conversation in the room. They all were like, I think one person brought up farming, and then somebody brought up, what if you don't want to do farming? What if you have another business idea?
Right.
And so we did like a little competition, had them write out what their business plan is, what they would do, how much money they would need, and then we would try to raise funds to get them started.
Right.
And so we did start it with one person's business we helped, right? Mm-hmm. And then life happened.
2020
COVID happened.
2020
happened. And it's kind of been on pause, but that was the idea behind it, to help them with entrepreneurship, starting their own businesses.
So that just kind of came out of the youth conference last year. It wasn't an entrepreneurial conference. This year, the focus for Cornelius's youth conference is changing the world through entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
That is the title of the conference.
Mm-hmm.
So what Cornelius is hoping to do now, he's had a year to think these things through. Mm-hmm. He's got 3 areas of need.
Before you get into that, for those who don't know, this may be your first video. You may not have seen our other videos about Cornelius, but Cornelius is a young man in northern Ghana that we're connected with. Mm-hmm. And we support his work that he does in the community. He has a ministry and some other things, but he's a very, what do you want to say? He does what he says he's going to do. So
he's 100% accountable.
Yes, very accountable, a lot of integrity. So when we help him, we've done with like the tractor and things like that. We've helped them raise.
I'm talking to people who don't know. So the tractor, we donated a tractor about a year ago.
Yeah.
Because they have a lot of land in northern Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't have the resources to cultivate the land. So all the farming they do is subsistence farming. It's hand to mouth. They can never farm for profit because they don't have what they need. So the tractor is something Cornelius has used to go from farming community to farming community and plow acres and acres of field to help these people. And there have been a ton of people who have benefited, people he's never even met, who have benefited from what the tractor is doing. This is the impact that Cornelius has with a very small ministry. Matter of fact, his ministry is called the Touching Lives Center, and he's doing just that.
Yeah, and ministry not as in a church, but ministering to help people,
in serving,
help the community. That's what he does.
Absolutely.
And so when we send him money, he follows through. He sends pictures, video, all types of things. If you go to our website, you'll see some of the pictures and video from when they got the borehole for the water in one of the communities. So just saying all of that for those who haven't followed us along the way since last year, that Cornelius does what he says he's going to do. So you don't have to worry about, if you decide to support something that you don't know where it's going. You'll see the pictures, you'll see video, you'll see that it's going to good use.
Oh, yeah, he's 100% accountable. So having said that, there are 3 areas of need. He wants to help with farming, but now instead of crops, he's looking to help some young folks who are interested in growing guinea fowl. Guinea fowl is like their form of chicken. Big pretty bird, by the way. But they're looking to actually buy some guinea fowls that they can, have eggs and, grow from there. And then they need an incubator that is to put the eggs in. I guess to keep them warm. I don't know how incubators work. I'm not a farmer. But they need an incubator, and they need to get the initial product, the initial guinea fowl. Those who receive, for example, the incubator will move from group to group to group. Nobody gets to keep the incubator. I think it's about an 18-month commitment on the incubator, then it goes to someone else. Those who actually start growing guinea fowls and selling guinea fowls are committed to giving back to the next generation of young folks who want to enter into the guinea fowl arena.
Next generation or next group of people?
Group of people. The next people in line to actually, we're not going to have to keep seeding them, is the point.
Right. But you don't mean like the next generation.
generation in the entrepreneur program.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So the
That's
next
a long
group of people
Okay.
in line in the entrepreneurship program will be funded from the previous group.
Okay.
As far as the guinea fowl.
Okay.
Then he's got the third group, which is other entrepreneurs outside of farming. He's got contracts written up
Hey guys.
with all of these young people that want to receive money for their farming projects, for their projects outside of farming.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's got contracts to how all of them will contribute back into the entrepreneurship program so that no more money will need to be raised, whether it's a farming project or outside of the farming project. So what they're looking to raise initially is about $7,000. So Cheryl and I have told Cornelius that we will figure out how to come up with that $7,000 or help him come up with that $7,000. This is part of how we're going to do it. Obviously, we will be contributing our own funds because we're not going to tell you to do anything we wouldn't do. And we want to make it as simple as possible for you to connect with Cornelius. Ideally, guys, you would make your donations directly to him, to their bank account in Ghana. I have their account information, but I want you to deal with Cornelius. So if that is something you'd like to do and you're comfortable working with Cornelius directly, which is what we would prefer, go to Bridging the Gap and send us an email, and I will email you back with Cornelius's email address so that you guys can communicate. He can give you his banking information directly and so on and so forth. If for whatever reason you want to help but you feel more comfortable sending the money through us, we would prefer that you deal with Cornelius because it creates extra work for us. But you can donate to us in our foundation. And we can then donate from the foundation to the Touching Lives Center. Like I said, I don't want to be overseeing Cornelius's ministry and his finances. But for those of you on the channel who want to and have any hesitancy sending money to Africa, I understand. We will be here to play intermediary and make sure that they get every dime you send. So that is, I think that's about it. $7,000, guys.
So big or small donation, doesn't matter how small or big, whatever. $10,
$50, $100, whatever the number is, it's all appreciated.
Yeah.
And we will figure out how to get him all of it eventually. I'm just looking forward to what he's going to do with it. It's just been such a blessing to see what the tractor has done. Mm-hmm. I think for those of you who weren't here, Cornelius lost his father over the summer. And he said the number of people that showed up at his father's funeral that he had never met before, who just simply showed up to support him and show love for him because the tractor had touched their lives. He said, Daddy, he calls us Daddy and Mommy. He says, Daddy, I was in tears, and it wasn't because I lost my father. It was because God was showing me that all my work is not in vain. Mm-hmm. It was just a huge blessing to hear him feel so full at such a difficult time in his life, simply because he's doing what he loves to do and seeing the rewards of it. Mm-hmm. So we're going to figure out how to get him this money, and if you guys want to work in any amount, we'll do. We would appreciate it.
Yeah. So let's say hey to, I see Alaska, Todd, Matthew, Frank, all said hello.
What's up, fam? Glad you could join us today. And who we got next? So we're going to transition to a difficult topic. This last shooting with Mr. Goodson, I believe is his last name. Young man who's 23 years old. Went to get Subway sandwiches and something else for his family. Comes home in this task force in Columbus, right? Columbus, Ohio.
I haven't followed this story. I can't do it.
Y'all challenge me. Yeah, we're going to discuss this one real quick, but we've been avoiding this stuff because of 2020 and all. This one we're going to talk about. So this young man is coming home. There's a task force in his neighborhood looking for violent criminal task force. He's not somebody that they're searching for. He has an interaction with one of these police officers. Supposedly people heard voices, but nobody saw this. There's no body cam.
Michael, Hollywood, Florida.
Hey,
That's
Michael.
a Grant. Is that a relative?
Anyway, I'm wondering, it wasn't Hollywood, Florida where the incident took place. Anyway, somebody heard voices, like there was an interaction between him and this police officer, but the dude had on no body cam. There were no other witnesses that were cops, and there was no civilian witnesses. So nobody saw what went down. What we do know is this young man was armed legally, had a concealed carry permit in the state of Ohio, opened up the keys to his house, opened the door, and was shot dead, laying on the kitchen floor for his 5-year-old brother and his grandmother to discover his body laying there. This kid didn't do anything but go get Subway, right? There's no witnesses, no body cam, but we know he's walking in his house, which means I don't see any other place for you to shoot him but in his back, right? As foul as all of that smells.
So let me ask a question, because I didn't hear the story, or I didn't read about it either. So he was going in his house. Did he have his gun exposed, or did they see his gun?
Well, it says he had a concealed carry permit.
But did they
so
see?
He was. Let me finish. If you conceal it, that means you're covered. Like you can put a gun in your waistband and cover it with your shirt. That's a concealed carry. I don't know, based on what I've read, if it was exposed and not concealed. All I know is he had a concealed carry permit. Right. So whether he had a gun or not, really doesn't matter. It was legal. He's licensed to have a gun. If he did not pull that gun on this officer, then you shouldn't be firing at anybody. Your life is not imminently in danger. And the fact that he put the keys in the door and was walking inside, he's got food in one hand and his keys in the other. How are you at risk?
Yeah, I'm just wondering why the fact that he had a concealed carry permit is part of the discussion.
Because they found a gun on him.
Okay.
They found a gun on him, so it's kind of like Philando Castillo told the cop, I got a gun, and I'm licensed to carry it, but I want you to know ahead of time. They laid him up in the car with his wife and child. So, like I said, as much as all of that smells stank, there is a process in Ohio by which officer-involved shootings require the State Bureau to investigate those shootings, right? The State Bureau denied to take this case. And once they explain why, then it starts to stink to high heaven. So the State Bureau says, we cannot take this case. We are supposed to investigate all officer-involved shootings, but the first phone call that should be made about an officer-involved shooting is to the State Bureau so they can show up on the scene in real time. These people didn't call the state folks for 3 days. It took 3 days to make that phone call. That's just normal protocol. They're the first ones called. And they said the reason we can't take this case is because you've had 3 days of people trampling the crime scene. We're supposed to be the first call so we can show up and investigate a clean crime scene. We're not taking responsibility because you didn't bother to tell us for 3 days, which makes sense. If they're going to do an investigation, they got to have all the information. You don't have all the information 3 days later. So the question is, what is going on? How do these law enforcement agencies even get away with it? Forget the shooting itself. How do you not make that phone call? How do you not immediately call the state in? Why? What reason would there be? Other than this is foul, something ain't right. This just does not smell right.
Well, if you really don't want an investigation, do you follow the protocol so that they can investigate you?
It doesn't matter what you want. Protocols are protocols, especially in law enforcement, especially in the climate that we're in. Okay, that's kind of what I'm getting at. They don't care. They don't care, but somebody needs to pay for them not following protocols. I don't care what your reason is. So they're saying now that the local investigators are going to investigate, and because the state isn't involved, isn't going to hinder the investigation. No, it's not going to hinder. It's going to hinder people actually getting to the root of the problem. It might hinder you covering up some stuff. If they were to be involved, it might hinder you covering up some stuff, because this does not make any sense. If this young man is opening the door to his house and he's got groceries in his hands, food in his hands, and he's going inside, what are you shooting at him for?
Right. And they can't say they thought he had a weapon if it wasn't showing, just because he has a permit, because they probably didn't know that until after he was shot and they started researching, and now they have something that they can muddy up the waters with to get people thinking that they had a reason to shoot him.
Even if they saw the weapon, as long as he didn't brandish that weapon, if he didn't pull that weapon, you have no means to, no reasonable cause to use deadly force. There is none, absolutely zero reason to kill a man walking in his own home with Subway sandwiches, for his baby brother to walk in and see his body laying on the kitchen floor. It's unacceptable. It is unacceptable, and I'm tired of it. And I know as a black community, we're all tired of it. You know, there are those of us out here who really wonder why we experience the things we experience. You know, like being black is a curse, right? And I was thinking about this because we talked about this on was it Shem? No, Ham. We talked about how they justified slavery as the curse of Canaan applying to all black people, and that the curse of black skin is, you know, we're supposed to be servants and all this other stuff. You know, there are those out there who want to say and believe that the curse itself is this, that being black is a curse. And so in light of this most recent shooting and some of the things we've been sharing, I don't think we've done a good enough job explaining to you that 100% is not the fact. Matter of fact,
what's not 100% the fact?
That being black is a curse, or being black is the curse that is mentioned in the Bible. That is not the fact. In fact, that is 100% contrary to what the Bible actually teaches. Right? So let's take a look at some examples in the Bible of skin color and curses that the Bible makes clear. Moses, for example. When God was talking to Moses and telling him what the examples he was going to go show to Pharaoh, that God was actually speaking, not Moses speaking. One of them was, you know, turning the water into blood, the river into blood, right? One of them was putting his hand in his vest, and when he pulled it out, it was what? White as snow, leprous, freaked Moses out, freaked everybody out, right? So that was a problem. Turning your hand white, turning Moses' hand white was scary to Moses.
Which means he wasn't white.
Which means he was not white.
Or you couldn't turn your hand white.
And the Bible says when he put it back in and took it out a second and went back to what? Normal. Yeah. When Miriam and Aaron, Moses' siblings, rebelled against him, what was the punishment? Immediately God turned Miriam leprous.
Which is white.
So she was white as snow. Mm-hmm. Moses had to pray that off of her, and he still said she's going to stay that way for a week. Right? You had was it Naaman? The general from another country. I kept forgetting the name, but we know the man of God, the prophet, told him to go dip himself in the Nile River 7 times. And when he came up out of there, the leprosy was gone. He was no longer white. So this is a man in a region of color who was white, who dipped himself, and now he's not white anymore.
Yeah, one of them had a curse. The curse was
that your family, the one who followed after him.
Yeah, but he did something. He took something. He kept something he wasn't supposed to keep.
I believe it was Elisha was the man of God who told this man to dip in the river. And when he finally did it, he wanted to give him something. He wanted to pay. He's like, no, don't worry about that. Go away. Elisha's servant followed him. Right? And said, hey, my master has changed his mind and he wants XYZ, silver and some other stuff.
Naaman's servant, wasn't it?
I can't remember all the names. Anyway, the servant went and followed after the general who had just been cleansed, following the orders of the man of God. And when he went back, he acted like the man of God, like God is not going to reveal this. So he said, look, God, you can't just fool God. You're not going to do things and lie on the man of God and say that I told you to do it, like God's not going to reveal it to me. And then he said, God says from this day forward, the leprosy that came off of him will stick to you and your family forever. Gehazi. Yeah. So it was a punishment. It was a punishment for Miriam. It was a punishment for Gehazi. It was meant by Moses to spook the crap out of Pharaoh, which is why he was turning the river to blood. Put your hand in, bring it out completely white. These were things that were to shock the mess out of people. So how is it that being black is a curse?
Right. Well, leprosy itself is a disease, and that turned your skin white. And so for anybody who had leprosy at the time, turning your skin white means that it wasn't white to begin with, because then it wouldn't be a curse. It wouldn't be a curse.
It couldn't be a curse. But we have people who have portrayed us as being cursed. Now there is a curse. If you're the descendants of Jacob right now, if you Israel, we are walking, but that curse has nothing to do with skin color. It has nothing. It is about disobedience. It's always been about obedience. And as we continue to walk through these boys, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, so on and forth, you're going to see it's all about obedience. It is all about obedience. What Deuteronomy 28 was about, it starts out with the first 15 verses telling us what would happen if we walk in obedience. We, being the stiff-necked people that we are, have done just the opposite. That curse has nothing to do with our skin color. And biblically speaking, let's take a look at what the Bible has to say about being black.
Before you go there, someone's asking where in the Bible, where is that in the Bible, please? I'm not sure which one you're talking about, but Moses, that example is in Exodus 4:6.
Yes.
And the Gehazi one, let me get that right quick.
Sorry, guys, we didn't turn this into a lesson on the Bible. I just want to give some examples, but we will try to provide you with the proper coordinates to verify everything we're telling you.
2 Kings 5:27. That's from when it was said that the leprosy that was on Naaman will go to Gehazi and his descendants.
And you can go backwards and see the whole story.
Yeah. And I always wondered if that's where.
Yeah, we're not going to. So she always wanted to throw in a tangent to have us on here for 2 hours. In the Song of Solomon, I want y'all to hear what the Bible says about being black. In the Song of Solomon, it says, and this is Solomon speaking, chapter 1, verse 5, says, I am black but comely, O daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. That's the whole verse. I am black but comely. Let me break that down into you in English, modern day English, layman's terms. I'm black and beautiful. Black and beautiful. Some of these translations, a lot of these translations have inserted that word but. That only makes sense. I'm black, but I'm comely. like he's saying, I'm like that. That's a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a surprise. If you look at how many different people in the Bible says he was beautiful. Moses said when he was born, his parents noticed him as a handsome child. Well, he was black too, black and beautiful. This is Solomon describing himself as black and beautiful. Now, let's take a look at a couple instances of Jesus being referenced in the Bible. We're going to start with Daniel 10:6. Well, I'm going to start with 10:5. It says, "Then I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz." It says, "His body also," this is Daniel having a vision, "his body also was like the beryl in his face as the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet in color to polished brass or burnished brass, depending on what translation you're looking at. Burnished brass is how Daniel described this vision of Jesus. Just so y'all can know for sure that that is Jesus, let's go to Revelations 2:18. So we know that this person Daniel's talking about is the exact same person that John the Revelator saw in the last book of the Bible. Revelations 2:18, "To the church at Thyatira." Oops, take that back. Yeah, Revelation 2:18, "To the church at Thyatira. To the angel of the church at Thyatira write, these are the words of the Son of God, whose eyes are like blazing fire and whose feet are like burnished bronze." Almost verbatim what Daniel said. So, family, as we deal with the stuff that we're dealing with, we got to keep a solid focus on how do we come out of this stuff without to a proper interpretation of what we're dealing with and why we're dealing with it. It is a curse, but this ain't the curse. This is not the curse. The curse is just simple disobedience. As we lay out these boys, the sons of Noah, and who God is and where his focus and his priorities are, do you really think you get to be singled out by God, to be used by God, and not do that, and there's no consequence? We're living out the consequences of it, but this is not it. The color of your skin is not it, because it looks just like the smartest, richest, wisest man that's ever walked the planet, and it looks just like the Lord himself. And on top of that, the Bible would suggest to us that if there was any color, skin complexion that is a curse, this ain't it. Quite contrary, the flip side is suggested to be the one that is a curse. Don't ever let anybody make you feel that we're dealing with what we're dealing with simply because we are black. That's not the issue here. There's a bigger issue here, which is why we're doing what we're doing, because we need to understand that. And this ain't about white folks. They didn't do this. We did this. God is allowing this because we have chosen to stand in opposition to the things that he's desired from us for our good. So we can't blame them, but we definitely...
They got some responsibility in this.
We're going to get to that too. He's using them. You know this. We ain't got there yet with them, but you know this. He's using them to get our attention. The Bible tells us God says he's a jealous God. You understand he's using these folks right now to make us jealous? That's biblical. For those of you who don't want to wait, go read Romans. Romans 11. It will tell you he is using them. Don't major on the minors. We cannot major on this is not a people thing. People don't run nothing. God's running everything. And he told us ahead of time, before they even became who they are today, that he was going to deal with us if we didn't. We didn't, and he's dealing. End of story. They're just a tool. And he's telling them that in Romans. Read Romans 11. We're going to have a nice discussion about that in just a minute, but read Romans 11.
But they don't get off scot-free.
Ain't nobody getting off scot-free.
Just like he used Pharaoh and hardened his heart.
And then he dealt with Pharaoh.
He's still drowned in the Red Sea.
And
so
now, everybody's got an opportunity to get it right. Pharaoh had a chance. He had 10 different chances.
Yeah.
If you don't, there will be consequences, and those consequences will be harsh. Yeah. That's on them, and that's between them and God. That ain't between us and them. We ain't the ones going to fix this. What we're going to do is get our act together and get right, so God can deal on our behalf, because he's intentionally not dealing on our behalf. Mm-hmm. But he told us it was going to come down to this. So, let's see. We got a couple questions. Yes, sir. Elmore, absolutely right. And we are not immune. No, we are not. So with that, guys, I'm going to blame Cheryl for going off on a couple tangents. This was supposed to be less than 30 minutes.
I didn't go on the tangent. I could go on the tangent. Right. I got a tangent
in mind.
In the way. But I will be good on this here video today.
All right. And hopefully, now that I'm feeling a little better, we'll get the second video about sons of Shem. We'll talk about from Abraham down from this point. So, with that, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. And those who are going to be taking the class, we should be probably emailing you sometime in the next week. Look forward to hearing from those of you who want to help out with the project with Cornelius. Mm-hmm. I'm excited. After seeing what the tractor did, I can only imagine what's going to happen next. So I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to partnering with those of you who want to participate.
All righty.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.